All right, I wanted to build a little bit on what I talked about in the last video, and specifically those first two elements that go into the color that we're trying to judge. So that the idea of local color and then the color of the light source. So the color of the light source, again, as I mentioned in the last video, sometimes gets sort of dropped out of the equation, and it's really important at the beginning to pinpoint what that coloration of the light source is, because that light, it's creating this whole lit colored environment that we need to try to recreate for our painting. So it's sort of falling over this whole area, and whatever that light is striking, it's coloring. So it's like this envelope of colored light that we want to kind of take stock of at the very beginning. Because if we don't, there's a tendency sometimes to let our preconceptions take over. So a lot of students, when they begin with a setup like this, they'll look at this white cast, and they'll say, oh, well, that's white, and they'll just think of white paint, and they'll put white down, but they won't get the kind of warmth that they need to get into it, because this light is warm. It's got yellow and red in it, and so where it's hitting this cast, it's investing it with that red and that yellow, a little bit more strong yellow than red in this case. But if I don't get that, then just a white up here is going to look false, and it's not going to be very particular in terms of the kind of light that it's describing, and we want that. So it's really important to take stock of the coloration of the light. Is it essentially warm, essentially cool? So if we look at the shadows are also affected by the color of the light, in that we tend to see the complement, or it's going to push that color towards the complement of what it's showing us in the light. And we see this a little bit more specifically or a little bit more easily on more neutral colored objects like this cast. So here we see, there's a lot of sort of yellowy orange color out here in the light, and in comparison, even though the light source is not hitting it, by comparison, this the shadow is looking much cooler, right? It's got kind of a blue or violet cast to it. Same thing out here with this green. This green out here has got a lot more yellow in it, whereas over here, this green has got a lot more blue in it, right? So there's always this complementary relationship in terms of how the light is impacting the color that we're seeing. All right.